Oh, there we go.
Pull up the question thread. All right, I think we're live. I don't know, I'm gonna click play and see if it works. Right now it's just my big face. Yeah, there it is. Oops, my stereo's on. Cool. Can you all hear us? And it says I'm Lindsay Padilla. So we're not on eCam today, we're on Zoom, which means we can't do the overlay of the questions. Lindsay, did you pull up the questions thread?
I'm trying to find them right now.
I can send you the link.
Wait, why am I pulling them up then?
So you can look at the questions as well as me.
Oh, you can just drop them in the chat.
The chat in Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm searching.
Going to the question thread.
Here for both of us to just have them in the chat. Here, I will just, are you in there right now?
I'm copying the first question.
Are you going to do all of them or just the first one?
I'll put each one at a time.
Okay.
That's one. Next.
Oh, why'd you skip one?
I don't think I did.
You did. Okay.
Oh, you're putting them in?
Well, I just started to because you were doing it so slow. So.
Well, okay.
You want to start with the landing page one or something, or the Zoom one?
Sabrina asked, Facebook Live from Zoom is not opening live display with comment and chat box, but loads as a video for hosting watch party after the video has ended. Is there a setting I need to change or call Zoom for assistance? We just did it. I mean, this is what this is a live meeting into the room, into the group. So it looks like it's working as expected. I'm not sure what the problem was. If you're getting something different.
Okay, so Zoom is not opening the live display with comment and chat box. What my question is just so you know, we have to open the live on our phone to get comments. Comments aren't streamed in. I don't know if that's what she's talking about.
Right.
Because if that's the case, that's not how Zoom works. So how Zoom works is Derek and I are on a typical Zoom call. Oh, you don't have us side by side? Do you have us gallery or? Oh, you do, sorry.
It's side by side.
The way Zoom works is we just have a Zoom meeting and it says we're live. And Derek, I think, goes through this in the Zoom training, but essentially we're live right now. And I'm not looking at Facebook. We're just live. And the only way I can look at Facebook from in Zoom is on my phone. So I prop my phone next to me so I can answer questions while we're live. So if that's what you're talking about, Zoom's working as it should. If you're talking about something else that we're not addressing, so I don't know if you're watching or if anyone else has tried this or struggled, but what happens after, what you probably did was went to the live after and saw that it was a video, and that's what it does. Right. It saves the video. That's how replays work. You can watch a watch party after. You can click on that button and rewatch it with your students. You don't have to do it like that, but you can. So I think that's what she's talking about. I don't actually think it has anything to do with Zoom not working. I think, especially if she has the video after, that means it was live.
Yeah, that means it worked.
Yeah.
You're not going to see the Facebook chat in the Zoom. Like you have to open eCam. It's like right now, like Lindsay has her phone. I have my laptop in front of me. I'm using our desktop computer to do the Zoom call, streaming into Facebook. I have my laptop open to Facebook in front of me and I see people chatting. So Sarah said, it does look like it's working. I turned captions on to test it and it's not working. That makes sense. I mean, we don't have any captions. Like no one's here typing the captions. So they wouldn't be generated. And we don't have any plugins for that turned on.
However, so you know what's interesting is she said that Derek and I tried to get on Skype and do eCam. So just so you know, Skype allows for interviews, but you have to go through Skype, or sorry, eCam allows for interviews, but you have to go through Skype. So we attempted to set that up. Skype was not having it on one of our computers. Well, as we said, Derek, I was in the Skype and it's new and it said subtitles. Like as if we could subtitle the video while it was live. So I don't know. I haven't played with it. I don't know if Zoom's trying to do that. For me, I didn't know the technology was possible. But if it makes sense, like maybe, I don't know. That's like immediate though. Like even YouTube takes a second. So.
But there is text or speech to text.
That's true.
Software out there, like Google Drive, you can text. I mean, you can speak your Google Doc and it'll type it out for you live.
That's a good point. Well, so Sarah's saying, yeah, it would be auto-generated from Google. Maybe they're rolling it out and we just don't have it. Like the function doesn't work yet, because that would be awesome.
Somebody in the group asked about that, about an auto like live closed captioning. And Zoom has a help page telling you how to set it up, and it says like use a third-party platform, but they don't give examples. So I don't know what options are out there. Cool.
Yeah, Sarah, if it somehow starts working for you, we'll let you guys know if you see it. Yeah. So I think she's watching in the chat. So
Cool. Next up, Yvonne Coleman asks, my question is, how do you go about creating a landing page with some of your info on it, not strictly paypal.me/amount? I mean, I'll ask the other question. Do you know how to make a page? Because a landing page is just a page, right? There's nothing special about it, but there's lots of software that you can choose from. Depends on how complicated you want. If you already have a website, just make another page on your website. So if your website's yvonnecoleman.com and that's your homepage where it has stuff about you and what you do, then you can make yvonnecoleman.com/landing page, or whatever you want, and then put info there with buttons. But I mean, that's the easiest way. And then it goes way more complicated from that. You can get into lots of third-party platforms, which people use like ClickFunnels, stuff like that. So it gets a lot more advanced. But
echoey.
I'm echoey. I'm using a different mic.
It's not good.
Not good.
It's an FYI. I can't believe you would put yourself out there with that.
Well, I wanted to try this mic. Let me tap it.
That's not working.
Okay, then it's not using the right mic. No, I thought that was happening.
Sounds like the computer mic.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's
good. I did mean to interrupt also, partially because I wanted to say as well, in BBB, we teach you're talking about creating a landing page. And if you're talking about creating a freebie of some sort to enroll people, totally fine. But if you're talking about creating a landing page for your course selling, we recommend not doing that if it's brand new to you. So Derek was sitting here kind of talking about like, yes, you can use ClickFunnels, which is what we teach in the program. And you can get ClickFunnels for $19 a month using our process. And I think those videos are up there. If they're not, we can tag you. Derek and I literally are reworking BBB right now. I'm so excited about some of the like tiny updates that we're doing. It's not like all curriculum is going to change, but we're filling gaps that we know have been in the program for a while. We were reviewing all of the student feedback. I think we should be super transparent about this because we're literally in the like third iteration, and third iteration looks very different from second and from first. And so we spent all this time reading all your feedback you guys gave us in the modules. It was so helpful. We're sitting here going, perfect, awesome. Oh my gosh, this question came up 3 times. We probably should fix it. And it's little things like, it's not like we're teaching and it's like so messed up that no one's getting results. Like people are getting results. Now it's about tightening. So anyways, I bring that up, Yvonne, because this is a murky spot as we knew that we're now, because we use Member Vault, we don't want you creating a PayPal Me account. We're actually going to probably wipe that from the program completely. And so, Yvonne, we teach make a Member Vault product, and that creates a landing page. So you would basically put your syllabus in the product, and someone would be like, yeah, I totally want that. And the payment stuff is right below it. You don't have to get fancy. You don't even have to use ClickFunnels. So if you're talking about for a freebie, you also can create a freebie in Member Vault. We haven't, that's like probably an update that's coming later, like in several weeks, but we're going to update Market Like a Teacher to reflect that. But we're doing the core BBB curriculum first. So we have some cool, bigger updates probably coming in August. I'm not even going to, I can hint to them, but we're basically going to teach a really cool process for relaunching your course, which is not in the program right now. So that's something we're going to do in August. But all that to be said, Yvonne, we want you to keep it simple, and Member Vault is the way to do it because it allows for payment plans. It allows to take PayPal and Stripe. And it is what we use BBB for. So all the system you're seeing, when your course becomes the next iteration, you will put that in MemberVault and it's ready and waiting for you. So I hope that answered your question. We went like windy and all around with it. But that is kind of our big update. I would say the fact that we're doing the curriculum and listening to you guys and doing that feedback and just kind of reflecting back at how helpful that freaking was. We're like, oh, we're so good at teaching this. We looked at that feedback the first run when we did the beta for sure. And then this time it's the newest, version. So
yeah, I would say if you want to use MemberVault to be a landing page to sell a product or offer a freebie or something, go into the Tech Vault in BBB and look at all the MemberVault lessons in the Tech Vault, because that'll help you set up the page, set up the product, connect your emails, your PayPal account, all that stuff. And then there's one that's just called Selling Your Product. So I show you how to, once the product exists, how do you get it to people? What is the landing page? What does it look like? So
Christine Slater is asking, I think this is good to follow up on. She's like, please clarify. I think she meant to say, can you promote your course right from MV?
Yeah.
Yes. So the way it looks is, I think you show it in the walkthrough video, right? So Derek shows it. Essentially, you send someone a link and it's like it's like a sales page. It's not like ClickFunnels. It's not fancy with pictures and stuff. It's text, essentially. With a banner at the top that you could put your course name in if you wanted to. And then you basically put your syllabus, like that Facebook post that I teach you how to make, that first email, if you're sending emails for your launch, that becomes the sales page. Because remember, we're not making a fancy sales page. And right below it, if someone says they're interested, they literally can just input their payment information. We're trying to keep it clean. These people are warm. They probably know who you are already. They've been watching you. And so they don't need anything fancy. So hopefully that's helpful, Christine. Can you put that on Facebook ads? So you shouldn't be running Facebook ads for your beta. I know I have to say that over and over again, but there's no reason to run that for Facebook ads. However, if you're talking about future iterations, thinking about MemberVault, like, just so you know, no matter how beautiful your sales page is, no one runs ads to a sales page. It just doesn't work. Like I don't say, hey, join my course for $1,000
on a Facebook ad.
No, I have to like move people through a process to make sure that they're ready, to make sure that it's a right fit. And so they actually understand what the product is. No one's just going to give me $1,000 for no reason.
No.
However, people do test up to like $200 or $300, and sometimes that works, but they tend to be huge names with huge online presences. So no ads for something like that. However, I know MemberVault, there are people that talk about pixeling like MemberVault products and like that kind of thing. It is possible, but that would be for a freebie. That would not be for a sales page.
Can I do a free online workshop to feel out if people want to join the beta? Yeah, definitely. That's a good way.
Supportive of that. The reason why we don't teach that, Nicole, is now I'm teaching you how to set up the workshop. Then we're teaching you how to set up all the emails. Then we're teaching you whatever. So if you
know how to do that,
easy. If you know how to do that, also you can host it just on Facebook Live. You can make a workshop on Facebook Live that people could join. If you know how to do that, go for it. I always say, and I don't know, you guys probably don't remember the masterclass that you bought, but like we've had people buy BBB that are pros at course creation and launching, and they just wanted it cleaner, and the stuff that we teach around how to make the content really good, that's what they really wanted. So you can use all the tools in your toolbox as an entrepreneur, depending on how long you've been in this game, to add to this. We teach a bare minimum because we can teach people from zero to first sale. We teach that. So we keep it tight. And then definitely if making a workshop feels easy to you, knock yourself out. And that's actually like a great idea for a bonus potentially that I could add in the future, just to support people like that. Cause it isn't that complicated. I just want people to get their first students as easily as possible. And hosting a workshop adds this other layer of stress and tech. Like I have Derek at my side when I'm hosting my live webinars.
And we still struggle.
You got slides, you got recordings, you got streaming, you got email campaigns. Like it sounds easy, but it's not that easy.
Nope.
So cool. Yay, Caroline found us. Good. I saw her on the post.
Yeah.
I know some more questions are coming in. Elizabeth wants us to even add a little bit more about why no Facebook ads. So Elizabeth, there are a couple reasons. First reason is you haven't validated your product yet. So we want you to make a sale before we're going to put any money behind it. I'm at Emily Hirsch's house, who's like one of the leading Facebook strategists, and serves like super top influencers like Amy Porterfield and Michael Hyatt and like Marie Forleo, like not a joke.
And you?
And yeah, and she talks about how Facebook ads could amplify what's not working in your business. And so you're basically pouring money down a hole that like isn't validated yet, right? Now, I'm not saying you can't boost some lives and start growing your audience, but that is not the same thing as saying like asking somebody for a sale in a beta process. And Derek and I have spent a lot of money on ads this year. We've learned a lot. We will be teaching people how to build a course business like we built. That is what our next offer is. So I'm not saying never use ads. I'm saying it's not the right place for the beta version of your course. If we ever experiment in some way and I change my tune on that, I will let you know. We would not run conversion ads. It would possibly be some sort of engagement ads, and your budget would be tight because we're all about like not spending more money before you get any paying students. That's why I don't recommend Kajabi. I don't recommend the other third-party platforms because you end up in the hole before you've ever enrolled anybody. That's what we want to prevent. So Facebook ads will be a hole that you will dig for yourself. And that's why we don't recommend it in the beta phase. Cool. Awesome. Yes, it's delayed, the whatever it's called. Okay, cool. I think we got all the stuff that's happening on live. So why don't we
go back to yesterday's?
Yeah.
What's the next one? I'm wanting examples, that one?
Yep.
I don't know who it is. You didn't paste the name. So I'm wanting examples from folks who have created a relationship or personal communication course to see how they built in points in the course to check off "I'm done," quote unquote. That's obviously it's obviously a nice pop of dopamine for the student, but it seems to lend itself to individual assignments rather than reaching out and using the skills with your family or friends. So basically, it sounds like a little bit of gamification for something that's not assignment based. What do you think?
Yeah, so there's two things happening here. Do you want help so I don't have any examples, like I don't hold examples of every course possibly created, just an FYI. We can, when it talks about like your subject matter, like expertise, like Derek and I tend not to provide advice on that just because we can't know how to teach every subject. And I want you to trust yourself in the teaching piece. So, we could translate this to any type of course where people need to like do action. So what I teach in BBB when you're writing your blueprint is like what missions, what actions are you sending your students on so they complete it. When we're getting into things like checking off things to be done and like get that dopamine, that is not the beta phase. We're again getting too complicated. That's something you would create after you ran the live workshops. Now, I'm not saying don't gamify your course. You can do cool things in the Facebook group, but I don't want you really thinking about gamification yet until you've ran a beta. Because the beta, they don't need gamification. They get access to you in a live workshop. Their dopamine's going off as long as they're, you're showing up and asking questions. So let's just like step back and be like, are you overcomplicating this first run of the course? And we have to walk people back from that ledge a lot. Like that can be things we can talk about. What's cool about the way we've set BBB up is in the analyze phase and then the after the beta phase, those modules that you do after you run the beta, we will then have an outline of what you taught and how you should record the modules. Then you can come back with this question. We could pull up your outline that you're about to record and we could say, oh, it would be cool if, boom, boom, boom. Now we're giving you feedback on actual content. You're the pro. You need to teach it, run the content, and then we can make those kind of helpful, suggestions or whatever. Hi, Rebecca. Hello. Caroline Wong is saying use Seema's worksheets. Yeah, there is a bonus on how to create really good worksheets. Seema is an amazing instructional designer. Again, and it's actually helpful when you even for the beta run of your course, if you have some time and you want to watch those, you can. I just also tell people, try not to overthink the worksheets because you haven't taught it yet, and you're gonna like adjust the worksheets as you're going. The Seema extra bonus and like echoes bonus on slides, those are all things for like next iteration of your course. Again, we just want you launching and validating without having to spend all this time on worksheets and slides. That's the whole purpose of like the masterclass and BBB, right?
Rebecca, that bonus is in the Masterclass Mania module inside Build a Better Beta.
There's also a bonus on Facebook ads. If you want to like wrap your idea, like your head around how to set up, not how to set up Facebook ads, but the process. Emily walks through like, hey, you're just starting out. Like, when do you start ads? She came in and taught you guys. So that's where all those bonuses are. But I also want people to just ask yourself, are you just consuming stuff because you don't want to do the really scary thing, which is sell something and like have a course? And so check yourself on that. Cool. Caroline, I see your question coming in. Do we want to do the last? We have 3 questions still on.
Let's answer Carolyn's. She's on live. Yeah. So Carolyn asks, is it better to show up daily for a week to talk briefly about your course and then sell the beta? I'm just figuring out how to roll this out without being that 0 sale person. I'm laughing because yesterday me and Lindsay went through all the feedback, and like one of the common ones was like a nice calendar that tells us what to do exactly when, a lead out like a week or 2 ahead of time. What do we do? So I'm laughing because that's coming, but yes.
It's coming. And like what I've been saying to people from the beginning is like, you could just send an email and open the cart right now. And then you can slowly talk about the course and be making sales, because this isn't like a typical launch where you're doing a bunch of nurturing and you're prepping people and then you go into like this full blown launch. I'm trying to basically teach you that you can swoop up people that are around you right now. If you want to make a plan that for 7 days, you're going to teach a little topic and then the call to action is to join the wait list, knock yourself out. It's not a strategy that we teach everyone. We don't say you have to do it like that. In fact, the strategy I teach is decide what day you're opening cart and open cart. So like the idea that you think, which I think is interesting. If you look at, you think you're going to get 0 sales if you don't do this, is that even true? And so you get to decide the amount of effort and pressure you're going to put on yourself in any sort of pre-open cart phase. I tend to say, just go for it and see what happens. Because if you're a 0 salesperson, guess what that means about you? Nothing. It means that the people that were currently around you weren't aligning with that message. And that doesn't mean that this won't work. And it doesn't mean that you're a terrible business owner or any other description of yourself if you got 0 sales. Now, what if you do 7 days of lives and you still get 0 sales? What does that mean about you? It doesn't mean anything. It means the same thing. We have a data point. And so I don't want someone to go into this, get 0 sales, and then say, I wish I did more on the front end, because that's actually not the case. I teach in BBB to go in as unattached from the outcome as possible. I know that's really hard, and I'm saying that knowing that it's still scary, but do that. And then we can say, okay, cool. It took me 5 days. I sent a few emails. I had some conversations. This isn't a loss. Now what I gain is market research. Then you plan this like bigger 7-day lead up, whatever, or like a longer runway, which is what Stu calls it. I think that's great language. Like, we want the longest runway possible. But what I don't want you to sit here and do is go, okay, I'm going to do a launch in 1 month because I need to engage my people. Why? Like, anyone who's paying attention to you right now or wants the thing that you want is waiting for you to launch it. So just do it. If you get 0, it just means that no one around you at that moment was interested. That's it. That's all it means.
And also, good thing you didn't spend a lot of time and money making sales pages.
That's why we try to break it down like this. Yeah. Yep. And I could even sit here and say, yeah, you could go live every day. You can make a waitlist page. Do you realize how much work that is? It is a lot of work. Wouldn't it be cooler to just basically write those pitch emails or whatever, write those messages, decide that you're opening the doors, and then see what happens? Because either way, the result can be the same, which is 0. So how do we do minimum awesome course? That's what we're trying to do. Questions coming in. Yeah. Sarah says, I am consuming stuff because I don't want to do the really scary thing. I know. And that's okay. I think it's just recognizing that. It's not that, that's like bad, like you're bad at this or whatever. It's just acknowledging that that's happening and seeing like how, like, where can I do, what can I take off my plate to make it easier? So I can't make excuses for myself, right? Like
analysis paralysis, very common.
Elizabeth is saying, I just jumped in and being that salesperson. I mean, that's good. Like you should be a salesperson. If you're telling yourself that that salesperson is gross, you're not going to make any sales. So decide that it's fine. And here you are wondering. That's what I mean. The wondering part isn't even part of it. Like we don't know. There was no way we could know if you warming them up would have changed anything. So what's a better move? I think it's to get as much data as possible, as quick as possible, to not feel bad about the outcome and then make the next right move. That's it. That's what your job as a business owner is to do. So explore your feelings about why you feel like a salesperson. I mean, that's what launching is. No matter if you warm them up or not, you have to ask for the sale.
Ellen's asking about limiting the number of students to make sure it's an intimate, close relationship. That's up to you. We've had people sell 100 plus students into their beta, and lots of people get less than 10. So it's up to how many you think you can manage and how much time you can give them, really. I think if there's even 100 students, you can still build a pretty intimate relationship with them.
Yeah, we've seen, both Jamie and Lydia do it. Mm-hmm. You likely won't get 100. My whole thing would be, it creates an urgency to be like, there are only 10 spots, but the urgency can be created in other ways without limiting yourself. If you don't have a big following, I think sometimes putting spots out there is actually negative. So what you can do to create urgency is you can do an early bird for like a length of time, which means they can get some special call or bonus if they buy by a certain date. That's what I think works for people who don't have a huge following or haven't launched before, because when you limit yourself with spots, then you have to fill those spots. And then you're awkwardly posting on Facebook saying like, oh, I still have 10 spots. Now I have 9. And then you're like, am I even going to hit the 10? Right. And that's where it's like, it's awkward. And so you just want to make that as clear as possible, but spots are real. If you're giving away one-on-one access, you probably want spots. If you're trying to figure out parts of your framework still and like including more kind of one-on-one intimate experiences, then I would say spots. Like we're doing spots for Course Power because we have to be like in people's webinar and funnels. Like we just don't have the time to consume all of that. So it depends on what your promise is for the student and you have to line that up. But if they're just learning information from you and like you can learn that, send that out to 100 people and still take care of them, I don't think you need to do spots. But is that Sarah's question about on the live? Is that where you're reading that from? Where was that from?
It was Ellen.
Oh, okay.
Ellen Clark.
Oh, yeah, got it.
Dreammakers.
Yep.
Dreammakers. Yeah.
Because Sarah has a question about, parameters of the Facebook group.
Yeah, I think Sarah dropped her questions from yesterday into the live. Yeah, thanks, Sarah. We're not on eCam, as I said before, so we can't like show the questions like we normally do. Lindsay's in Austin. I'm in San Diego. It's a little bit different setup.
Okay, do you want to read that?
Sure. Sarah asking, I have a question about how to set up the parameters of the Facebook group. That will go along with my beta launching August 15th, though I may push it back till September 15th. It's a long question that I posted and some pros/cons to the BBB group discussion. Basically, I can see many pros and cons to a limited Facebook group and those only in the beta course. And I can see the benefits and transformative power of making it public, requests not to join, not limited to the beta users. I have limited time and can't manage 2 groups right now. Which should I do first?
So your ultimate goal is to have a free group on the front end. Is that correct? If that's your goal, if you're not using it as lead gen for this course, I would just do it for beta students now. And then I see what you're saying. You don't have time to manage a free group on the front end of that. Yeah, okay. So I'm wondering if, because it's one of those things that as a business owner, you have to decide. While you're teaching, the beta course group is going to be full. But after you're done teaching, the energy is going to shift and you're not going to support them in that time. Like it won't be as much. You're going to walk them through this experience and then you get to like step back for a little bit and you're not like running workshops and getting a ton of questions. And you can tell that to your students. You get to decide the parameters. You could say, look, I'm going to be accessible for 2 months, 8 weeks, whatever. And then say, I'm not going to close the group. You guys can still talk to each other. But the next time I launch this course, the group will have new people and will whatever. So essentially you put the beta group on hold and then you can go nurture people in the free group. So I think that's better. I don't agree with mixing them and making them the same. I don't agree with that. I think that's going to be harder mentally. And then the students are confused. Why would they ever buy in the future then? You know, like they're going to be like, I'm getting this information because you want to live stream to the group. Remember the way I teach it. Like,
yeah. If you run the group the way we teach in the course, it doesn't make sense to have the students be in the free group and that's where the teaching happens.
Yeah. So it's separate. It's separate, Sarah. I just think you need to mentally compartmentalize the beta experience. That's going to take a lot of time. Totally understand. And that free group can get your energy later. So yeah, but however, I've seen people content batch and like you could have automated things go out weekly and just start to encourage them meeting up together. There are ways to run both groups. It's just thinking about what that means to you. You get to decide what the energy is and stuff. Obviously having a community manager is life-changing, but you would definitely want to, you know, obviously bring your income up to that level, but that would be the next step after that. So, you know, it's all scalable and it's all possible. Yeah, should we not have a free group and only do a paid group? I don't know that I know exactly your question, Caroline, but I have the Teachers Lounge and we run BBB. So those are my main groups. I also have a podcast community right now, but that's likely going to be collapsed into something else. But yeah, I think that's
at this stage, I don't think you need to worry about a free Facebook group.
Not yet. Yeah, enroll these first students. But I love the idea, like the community that you're going to create for, you know, doctoral students, first generation doctoral students, so needed, right? And that is going to be awesome. I just don't think it's necessarily your next move while you hold this beta experience, like, and you make that happen. That's great. I could do like monthly Q&A in the course, but maintain the public group as a co-created. Yes. So just think about the intention of the Facebook group. They're different. Mm-hmm. This one, I don't do a lot of teaching in the Teachers Lounge. I'm letting people connect with each other, but the teaching happens in BBB. And that's where my energy goes for like supporting people and helping them through problems. And so just know what the purpose of the front end group is, to build community and then recognize that you have something that you can help them with. Cool. Yay.
Sarah's the second question. I would like to get my course paid for by professional development funds that are usually available to doc and PhD students. Have you or any of your past BBB students been successful with this? Kathy Mazak course has a template letter she uses. as does the National Council on Faculty Development and Diversity, for support membership to their org and for their faculty success program.
Yeah, so I know what that program is too. What's her face? Her last name is long. So she's another entrepreneur, like, you know, faculty member turned entrepreneur. So I get why the template Kathy used supports those people, because that person's an entrepreneur. She's not an institution. So it is so interesting. We haven't, but what this is making me think is I want to find an expert who could do this. I know there's somebody out there in the world who's done something like this. I just need to find them, because I feel like we get this question a lot. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Asking for not just academic institutions, but corporate. Like they have some training that's like valuable for HR people. It comes up often, and they want to get HR, they want to get employees trained on their stuff, but the funds come from the company itself. So it's kind of murky who you're selling.
Yeah. Will you write in your notebook? We'll look in that in Asana. That could take like a post or two in some groups that I'm in where I might be able to find somebody, but this has come up so many times.
Yeah.
If there's anyone that's done that, Sarah, we don't know about it. That's the other side. I know there's like a couple of people who are in similar, who've had that similar thought. David Holzmer, I think, is one of them. Holzmer.
He's in the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Create the beta from the data, Carol. It's true. Yeah, if she didn't want to launch the course first, she could run stuff in the beta, or sorry, it's almost like an alpha, and the free group becomes the alpha. But yeah, cool. All right. Other question: can you speak on how long to keep the cart open? It would have been my thought to read interest for a couple months, but I see most people are choosing a limited. Okay, so there's different conversations around this. The first thing is, what you're reading about a couple months is pre-launch stuff. That is nothing to do what anyone would term launch. So when I say the word launch, this is something we're adding to the BBB curriculum, I mean the day you open the cart, which means the day you can take money. That is the beginning of the launch. Now, we can add pre-launch to this, which is warming people up and like sending emails that seeding that you're working on something. That's all like pre-launch. But in BBB, like, we want people to launch quickly. I do not want people to say, I'm launching in 3 months because I need to grow my audience, because I don't know that that's necessarily true. Now, in some cases it is, and that's why we have the Market Like a Teacher module, but like, everyone's operating, and it just came up for me in thinking about the person who's worried about 0 people. It's like, that's what's holding you back from doing this, is you don't want 0 people. So if you believe that warming people up means more sales, then you're going to push it back. And I just don't think that that's true. It doesn't mean, though, I can't protect you from no sales. There's no method that will guarantee no sales. But I want to give you the method that has the least amount of time, energy, effort, and focus, and has the highest return. Yes, maybe you would get 1 or 2 more people by waiting 2 months. Is that worth it, though? That's the question that I want to ask you. And that's why I teach it this way. And that's why I'm kind of like the only one that teaches it this way, because everyone wants to protect you from getting no sales. And I don't think that that's what we need to do. That's just not how sales work. So I just want to reframe that there's likely someone that is following you now that wants something that you're going to create. If there's not, it doesn't mean anything about you as a person at all. Or as a business owner. And so I want you to get that information as soon as possible. Rip the Band-Aid off as soon as possible. We can keep kicking the can down as far as we want, which many students still do in BBB, as much as I say this. We're going to actually make videos that are more directed towards this, because this comes up a lot. And so we are working in this conversation about launching. So in answering your question, look, I'm getting a bunch of amens and like, yeah, exactly. Okay. So, I think cart open, like a week for a beta is fine. I essentially did like 5 days technically. And then I was having private conversations with people, because this is chill and it's not this fancy thing. I even sold one on a phone call after we already had our first workshop. Like, because someone showed up for a sales call with me and I was like, look, I actually don't think you want to hire us one-on-one. I actually think this beta system, which is a third of the price or a fifth of the price, I don't remember what it was, is better for you. And the person was like, yeah, it is. And I'm like, look, the workshop, I hosted the first one. You can go watch the replay. Like, literally, you can keep making sales because you're running a beta experience. It's not this fancy, like, serious thing. And I said, even I think on a Facebook Live or something that morning, it was like, I basically accepted them up until the day we had our first workshop. That's how I did it. So a week is about as much time as you can really give that full energy of showing up without a team when it's only you. Emily just did like a 2-week launch and it was fried after. And that's the thing, it's tiring. And so cart open is when you're on. So how long can you be on sustainably? Stu McLaren does this whole like lead up phase with videos and all that stuff, but his cart open, which is when he is like on, is 4 days. 4 days, that's it. Everyone thinks like, oh, if it's open a little bit longer, more people will join. Probably not true. Like, probably not true. So I like to keep it tight. I think the ROI on the tightness is it's related to your energy matters. So anything to add to that?
Yeah. I mean, the typical rule of thumb is you get sales on the first day, sales on the last day. So like however many days are in the middle, not going to be that many sales. So it doesn't matter. Make it 1 day in the middle. And that's a 3-day cart open.
3-day cart open could work too. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Especially for something, if you're going like, whoa, like once in a lifetime, low chance opportunity, you're making people take action way faster. So a 3-day cart open isn't a bad idea either, especially for the price point. A lot of times a higher price point, maybe people need to think a little bit longer is another thing I've heard. So, which is why Stu is only 4 days, but it's 2 weeks of like watching videos and like him like doing stuff. So in reality,
that's for a $2,000 program though.
Yeah. And it's for a $2,000 program. Right. Exactly. But his cart open, people always ask, why isn't it open for longer? And he's like, no, like they've already consumed all this stuff. That's our big goal. Mm-hmm. Now it's just getting money and getting them to make that decision. We want it as tight as possible.
Mm-hmm. So people buy on the first day because they already consumed the content leading up to it. And then they're like, yeah, I'm in. I don't care what else happens in the next
so week. Many people bought on the first day.
And then there are people that are on the fence and they wait until cart close and they're, procrastinators and like, well, I can wait until the last moment to buy, and then they buy. And then that middle time not that much happening.
Mm-mm. Okay, so Rebecca has a question. 2 groups for my Pinterest biz course, 1 for existing, 1 free. I would look to promote the beta of the new strategy course in both of those groups. Yeah, I don't see why not. We did that. Like I kind of talked about, I don't know, maybe it was Emily's, not some of the other stuff, but like course power is going to be talked about in both of our communities. Exactly. And sell a flash sale. Yes, Rebecca. Yep. I think that's going to be a great influx of cash. And I think a flash sale is great for like 3 days. I think a flash sale 3 days. Now I suggest giving them a week warning and say, in 1 week, you're going to have the chance to buy this. It only lasts 3 days, 72 hours or something like that. So they can set the calendar date and then give them that 3-day window. Because flash sales should be like obviously heavily discounted. It should be a deal. And then like going into the next version. So yeah, you have a product that I want to say was like 150 US and you're looking to hopefully raise it to about 500. So, but you're going to add a bunch of stuff to that. So people are going to be jumping all over that. Mm-hmm.
This is so just so everyone's clear. This is not for a beta. This is for a next iteration.
No, she already has existing curriculum.
I don't want people to think like, wait, flash sale, what's that for the beta? It's not. It's not part of the beta.
Yeah. So Rebecca has a program and she wants to basically increase the value of the program. She's going to fix it up, add a couple of cool features, make it $500. But right now it's $150. So I was like, hey, you could use the cash flow to enroll people and get them excited about what's coming. And then, tell them it'll be the last chance to enroll at that price because it will go up. The experience will get better. Get in now. So that's what she's working with. Also, couldn't you close the cart and open a wait list? Then you could take people off the wait list as you decide.
I think it was when you were talking about enrolling someone after the beta had already started.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you could do that also. If you know how to set that up, again, that's an additional tech step that
for me, it was a sales call, remember? So I wasn't like actively going out and seeking more students. The person got on the phone with me 2 days. It was like Wednesday was my first teaching. It was a Friday sales call. And I was like, look, I actually think this is better. So that's why it was like an actual real life conversation. I didn't do a wait list. A wait list to me for beta, it just adds again, but you could, tech. But it's more tech. Yep. But good idea. Nicole's saying, how do you know if you should do a payment plan? That's a great question. So if my beta is, let's say 500, do you make the monthly payment so it adds up to 550? Yeah, so my whole thing with payment plans, someone else was just asking this in another community that I'm at. So BBB is 997 or 6 pay of 197. So it's almost one extra payment. And that's because sadly, people ghost us and stop paying. Credit cards default. We reach out to the people whose credit cards default. Usually it's a mistake. Usually something happened. They happily change it. But there's always this like small percentage of people that it just doesn't work out for whatever reason. And we could send them to collections. We personally aren't doing that right now. So what that means is the all of that is admin work.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of back and forth.
Manage failed payments, following up with people, whatever. And I'm not assuming that, I'm not sitting here saying people are trying to run away with my product. That's not how I look at it. It's just like stuff happens that I can't control. So I don't feel bad by offering someone a payment plan and making them kind of offset some of that cost. Because from a perspective of running a business, you need to be able to like know how much money is coming in, and we have to track that. And it takes a lot of man hours. So if someone's opting in for a payment plan, they're paying for the ability to stretch it out. It's almost like interest is another way of thinking about it, or like a layaway fee or cost. Now, you could also keep it exactly the same price. People do that too. And you get to decide that. When it comes to a beta, I would actually consider keeping it the same price. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what I did. So I ran my beta for $600, and I had someone that I personally knew really well who had bought something else from me who was like, hey, any chance you can do a payment plan? So I didn't publicly talk about a payment plan, but I gave this person 300. Like, I'm not like, that's the thing is, it's not this scaled program yet. So like, and I know her, like, so her defaulting on her credit card is going to affect our personal relationship at some point. Now, I'm not saying like whatever. So that's how I look at beta, because it's your warm network, because it tends to be people who trust you. They're not going to want to disappoint you. Now, some person who met me through an ads cares less about me. And so it's just a different energy. And like, I'm okay with that. It makes sense. I don't know them either. So, betas can be a more personal relationship, and so you don't have to charge more. However, I understand though that there will still be admin, and you're doing the admin, where I'm paying for a team to do admin. So for the most part, like that stuff, like the refunds and all that stuff happens. I don't do that. But you could charge $50 for that like burden of risk that you're taking, because it's risk that they won't show up. And then you then get at least $300 or $250 if they default on the second payment. So that's the way to look at it too. Like if you do 2 payments, if you spread it out past the length of the beta, what's the likelihood that they won't pay that last one? Would you be okay with just $200 or $300? And that's like another way of looking at it too.
I'd recommend not extending a payment plan beyond the length of your course though. That always feels a little strange.
I mean, yes, but also, in a beta setting, it could work out, like, because, well, I guess it depends. I don't know. I mean, obviously our program is quote unquote lifetime, lifetime to the content. And like, it definitely says like, we could change the setup of the Facebook group and all of that, but like, you know, that might change people's opinions, but yeah, it's something to think about.
Yeah, I think, Nicole, how do you know if you should make a payment plan? If people are asking for it, maybe don't even offer it at first. And then people are like, I can't swing it. Could you, if somebody asks, could you make it into 2 monthly payments? Then consider it. Like Lindsay said, one person asked for it. So you don't have to advertise that the payment plan, but maybe in the back of your head, just know if somebody asks, that's an option.
Yeah, see, Nicole says, I did the payment plan for BBB so I could invest cash for other things. Exactly. You're giving them an option. Yeah. maybe don't publicly talk about it. And when someone's super warm, because again, we're having conversations with people, we're making sure they're the right fit for the beta. If they tell you that money is a problem, and we get messages where people would like say, hey, I would totally buy it if it was $100 a month, right? So like, in the beta form, it's different because it's not somebody from a webinar that I don't know. It's like someone I'm actually having a conversation with. And so, yeah, opening up a payment plan, because on Membervault, it's so easy to set up too. It makes it feel like not as, I don't know if that makes sense. So yeah.
We got about 5 minutes, by the way.
Yeah. Just
looking ahead at any other questions that we want.
Elizabeth, how many times within the group during the day should you be talking about your beta? It's not always direct selling, right? So if you can share a case study or a testimonial of somebody who you've helped in some way, even if it's not the course, that's an indirect way of selling. If you can share behind the scenes of the course, that's an indirect way of selling. So you're not just like, buy my beta every 5 minutes or once a day or whatever. So you do want to stagger it. But you know, you can post multiple times. That's not the problem. It's just, you shouldn't be doing sell, right? We have Gary Vaynerchuk's jab, jab, right hook or whatever. You shouldn't be like, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing. That doesn't work. So you do need to come up with ways of talking about it, or hinting at it, or talking about, you know, an outcome or something that has nothing to do with saying buy it, but the call to action. So vary the call to action, I guess is what I'm saying, and vary the experience. You could just do a poll around the topic. Like there's lots of engagement things you could do in your group that will let them find their path to the offer and not just get the offer every time. Christine's question of if they say 100 per month, no, at the moment, it doesn't make sense for our business. It doesn't mean I wouldn't add it now. I know a lot of people who do have a 12 like month payment plan. For us, we didn't want that because it's a cash flow thing currently. If we get to a certain level of cash flow, then maybe we would give them that option. But at the moment, it doesn't make sense for us because we're funding this course enrollments through ads. So we need more cash to be able to do that. So we have chosen not to do that specifically. Good question. But on a beta, it's different. So you guys aren't investing in ads. You aren't like whatever. So you can decide if someone comes to you and say, hey, like it would be better if I made 3 payments of whatever, you get to decide if that feels good to you. You don't have to say yes. Yeah, technically we're getting all of BBB right now. So the BBB course is on loan. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, totally. Okay. Last thing, do you think that 108 for a 4-week class is fair for my beta? It's not about just that price point. It's about what the transformation is, your amount of time and effort put in. So it could be fair, but I need to know more about exactly what you're teaching, what the transformation is, because people aren't buying just the information, they're buying what result you're promising. And like the way we set up BBB, it's like, yeah, you can buy BBB. You only need 2 students to pay it back at $500 a student, right? And then it's like, but then there's all the other times you relaunch or all the ways you're able to use this as other things in your business. It makes more money for people than just the beta launch. And that's the cool thing about it. So think about what your promise is to your students. Does it pay back in a way that they would be like, oh yeah, that's worth it. Does that make sense? So the value, the random number doesn't matter to me. I need to know more about what are the benefits of the course? What's the promise? How involved are you? Because we have that famous story of Lydia. She was on at some point, but where she had her course priced at 500 and she got like no bites. And then she made some edits and actually brought the price down during a launch, which is kind of not really recommended, but she did it well. I said, look, you can make it worth 300, but now remove all those extra things that you said you were going to give them for 500. And she goes, oh yeah. And I'm like, yeah, they're buying what's the real reason they're buying? it isn't all that one-on-one stuff. They want this like result. So like give them that. So then that was the person that woke up to 124 sales in a few hours at $300. So there isn't some like magic number for everybody, but like you just need to weigh lots of factors in for yourself, if that makes sense. Okay, as a Canadian, it is better lower monthly for exchange issue of plus 40%. That makes sense. I could totally see that. A month, what about a $100 monthly membership? Yeah, we've played with that. We're not positive what we're gonna do. Christine, after we make some of these updates, the price of BBB is definitely going up, and we're going to decide if we are going to limit access to the Facebook group for a few months. Basically, I don't know, between 3 and 6 months is the only place I would go. I wouldn't go any less than that. And then people would pay to stay here, basically, because we give so much value here. So that's what we're thinking of doing, but we haven't done that yet. But I like sharing that because a lot of people are doing that. They do a membership on the back end of their course. So it's pretty common.
It'd be something out like after Build a Better Beta.
Correct.
Yeah.
But everyone would get a warning. PS, if we were like, hey, we're closing the doors, you know, here's what it would look like is, let's say I decided it was 6 months. What that means is you got access to the Facebook group for 6 months. We would have to manually track that, by the way. But then if we decide that, you guys will get the 6 month counter would start right now. We wouldn't start removing people.
No,
like
we've been here for 6 months.
Yeah. So like, just so you know, like if you're freaking out about that, but yeah. So it would be totally fair for everybody on that sense. So we wouldn't be surprising people. It'd be like, hey, you owe me $100 for the last 4 months. Like,
yeah, you've been here since October. We're gonna
you've been in here. Yeah, there's been people in here since when did I launch? Like April last year?
Oh yeah, the original beta people. Yep.
Yeah, because we sold you like this Facebook group as part of the product, and that is still, we obviously want to uphold that. It's just a concept and a thing that we're playing with, but not playing with it in enough right now. We have enough changes on our plate as far as like things. I'm enjoying showing up in this, so feels easy. Cool. Yeah, Christine saying it's taking me longer than I hoped. And that's why too, like, I don't like saying 8 weeks because this isn't a time dripped course. What happens is people start a product, they buy a course, they do the work, and then they're like, and they start and they get to module 1 or 2. And then they're like, oh, this is wrong in my business or like this. And so they get sidetracked, and it's not bad. Everyone's journey is different. But you know, just pay attention to and think about like what is holding you back, like because a lot of times we think we have steps that need to happen first. So I'm happy to talk you down from that as well. Cool. You guys are great. I bought on a cold ad. I know most people do. I don't do a great job of warming up. Yeah. We are finally launching a freebie this month. So, some point this month.
Yeah. Sarah, this wasn't the warning. This is the pre-warning. This is like an idea that's floating around us.
Well, I want to say too, Sarah, even the evidence that you say that this lit my fuse actually speaks to me as a professor, 3 month and 6 month windows. It's like, it's not about drip course, but it's about saying that there's a finish line. And if you don't have that marker, you can sit around and make up other things, buy other things, and you're just still floating around in BBB. And so there is something to be said of going through in a cohort within a certain time period that it does run out, because it does create an urgency.
Right.
Obviously tomorrow you could wake up and say, my urgency is tomorrow. That's my motivation. But like sometimes we need outside help. So you responding is exactly why I kind of want to do it. It's not because I want to make more money off of it. It's not because I don't want to give you guys less value. It's because I actually think it can be holding us back by thinking we have forever. So lifetime access to a Facebook group in some ways really messes with student completion.
We noticed that maybe a few months ago when we were like, oh, we have an exit survey. What's the exit? Nobody exits. Like they're just here. Like, it's
funny though. I knew that a year ago. I talked to all my clients about how they set it up, and it's getting more stylish, quote unquote, in the course community to have access to the group end, not because the people are like, I don't want you're not paying enough. It's because they want people to finish. And so from a teaching perspective, if it truly helps more of you launch, I will make it happen. So yeah, deadlines help to progress. Yep, exactly. So cool. Okay, we are on another call, my friend, so we have to go.
Hey, Zoom worked though. The meeting into a meeting streaming into a group. It's official. It works.
It's official. It only costs $15 to do a Facebook Live, and you can do interviews. Go do Facebook Lives, everyone, on Zoom. Take care, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye.